Hey, how's it going, guys? Welcome back to another episode of DQ's Movie Reviews. Today we're going to be talking about Night of the Creeps from 1986, written and directed by Fred Dekker. But before we get into this, I just want to give a quick shout out to Ocean State Libraries and my local library, George Hale, for letting me borrow this really cool Halloween package here that comes with, I believe, 5 movies. Got the original Fly, the 1986 Cronenberg remake, 2017's It, Sixth Sense, that's a classic. That's a classic. And the remake of Amityville Horror. But anyways, even came with popcorn. So, not only that, the movie that we're reviewing today, Night of the Creeps, I also borrowed from local library because I don't own it, so I want to give a big shout out to them. And guys, please support your local libraries. I know a lot of people think that libraries are dead, but go online, check it out. They're really cool. I live in the smallest state in the country, so I'm not surprised that all the libraries in the state are connected. But even in your state, a bigger state, check in the counties. You never know. There might be connections as far as county-wise. Go check it out. Look online. You never know. You might be able to borrow some really cool stuff from your local libraries for free. Cool old movies, video games. I've rented PS4 video games from the library. And it's all free, guys. It's all free. At least here it is. What, $1 for a library card? But anyways, we're gonna get into Night of the Creeps, so stick around, guys.
Thrill me.
This movie that we're going to be talking about today, Night of the Creeps, I've never watched before. The first time that I heard of it, I want to say was about a year ago on one of my favorite YouTube channels, Brandon's Cult Movie Reviews. If you guys have never heard of it, you've never seen it, I highly suggest you go check it out. There's a lot of cool stuff on there. And in watching the review of this movie on his channel, I actually realized that I've seen parts of this movie before. I've just never watched the whole thing, and I also had no idea what I was watching when I was watching it. So with that being said, my personal history with this movie is absolutely nothing other than watching that movie review on it. So we're going into this one with a clean slate, guys. I've never watched it before, but I'm really excited to see what Fred Dekker has to offer here. And now, the synopsis. Apparently there are 2 cuts of the film. Today, we are going to be watching the director's cut. And this also features the original theatrical ending as one of the bonus features. So I will check that out too before I come back to you with my opinion. I'll even let you know which one I liked better. This version, this DVD release here, what year did it come out? Let's see. 2009. This 2009 DVD release has, the commentary as usual, deleted scenes, but we also got some, other cool features here. Creating the Creeps, Escape of the Creeps, Legend of the Creeps, but this is probably the most anticipated that I cannot wait for. Tom Atkins, Man of Action. So, with that being said, let's read this synopsis before we get into this bad boy. When an alien experiment goes awry, it crashes to Earth in 1959 and infects a young college student. 27 years later, his cryogenically frozen body is thawed out by fraternity pledges, ... And the campus is quickly overrun by alien creatures, whose victims come back as zombies. Whoa. Whew. Yeah, that sounds like a mishmash of beautiful 80s gloriness, also with a 50s B-movie blend, which, you know, with the remakes of The Fly and The Blob and such back in the 80s, we definitely know that they had a nostalgic view of the 50s back then. So I cannot wait to see what Fred Dekker is going to be offering to us in his eagerly awaited genre film. Ooh. Alright, guys. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to turn on the DVD player, lower the lights, and watch this bad boy and get back to you with an opinion right after this. Alright guys, so I just got done watching Night of the Creeps, and I'm not gonna lie, it honestly exceeded my expectations. My wife and I honestly had a good time watching it. It was awesome. It was loaded with all kinds of stuff that I personally enjoy in my movies. I'm not gonna lie, I'm a little biased when it comes to these type of films. I love the 80s, guys. Even though I was not alive in the 80s, I absolutely love the 80s. I so wish I was around. I love the music. I love the movies. I love the style. And I also love the absolute cheesiness in some of the dialogue in 80s movies. It's awesome, guys. It's here.
Well, well, well. It isn't spanking alfalfa.
You heard of freeze-dried coffee, right? Well, this is like a freeze-dried human, a corpsicle.
Hey, you're cruising, man. There's no call for me. Screaming like banshees.
I mean, what more could you want out of that, guys? For me, personally, like I said, I had a really good time watching it. My wife and I were definitely laughing at a lot of the shit that was being said coming out of these people's mouths. A lot of the jokes throughout the movie. Definitely had more of a lighthearted tone. Again, kind of like Leprechaun, but this was a totally different feel, totally different decade, different style. One of my favorite things had to have been the overall performance of seasoned horror actor Tom Atkins, who up to this point had already been a star in John Carpenter's The Fog, played another role for John Carpenter in Escape from New York, more of a minor role, and then being the main character in Halloween 3 Season of the Witch.
I don't have a requisition form, is the thing.
You don't? Well, geez. To tell you the truth, Ray, that could be a little problem.
Yeah.
There could be a little problem.
Oh, I got good news and bad news, girls. The good news is your dates are here.
What's the bad news?
They're dead.
Don't even think about it, you little son of a bitch.
Doc, it's Miller time.
So coming into this, for this role of Detective Cameron, I feel like it was absolutely perfect for Tom Atkins, and he delivers a great performance. Obviously, I can see why on the back of the DVD cover there's all over the place says thrill me, because he's dropping that line every single time he's on the screen. He ends up dropping that line at some point. Thrill me.
Thrill me.
Thrill me. Thrill me. Thrill me.
I gotta say, that was definitely my favorite part of the movie. Tom Atkins. He's my big double thumbs up for this film. Every other actor, maybe except for the first guy that gets killed by the cadaver. That guy's a funny fuck. So, in reviewing this, I was trying to come up with something that I dislike about the film, and I had mentioned to my wife that I was having a hard time coming up with something, and she pointed out to me that there was one thing that I was really kind of picking on over the course of watching the movie, and that is Cynthia Cronenberg's annoying little voice.
Cynthia Cronenberg.
Babe, where you been?
Oh, rush stuff. Look, I'm sorry things didn't work out. We're just two different people.
You see what I'm saying, guys? That, and over the course of the film, it starts to lighten up a little bit. I guess that's supposed to be her character development, as she goes from this little soft-spoken girl who talks like this, very shy, but she dates the football players, to a little more, you know, badass, burning the creeps with the flamethrower towards the end.
Jesus, Cynthia! Try and fire it! Do something, damn it! Now!
It was just throwing me off. And then, honestly, the character of the Bradster there, you need an 80s dick, for sure. Like, almost every 80s kind of like teen movie, you know, where the characters are young adults or adolescents, there's usually some kind of like dickhead type. For it's just throwing a random ass movie out there. I watched Back to School recently with Rodney Dangerfield, and you got the douchebag in that movie. So the Bradster is the asshole in this movie.
Now let me get this straight. You guys want to pledge the betas?
Mm-hmm. Brother Brad, if these guys pull this off, are we really gonna let them in?
Get serious.
Hey, dog. Did you see that thing?
So anyways, guys, let's jump right into the verdict. As you guys can tell, I really enjoyed this film, but I bet you're all wondering, what is my official verdict of Night of the Creeps?
Wonderful.
I really, really like this film. So if you're a fan of some classic 80 cheesy goodness, then I recommend you go out and watch Night of the Creeps. And if you've already seen it, but it's been a little while, you know what? Go and watch it again. Check out the director's cut. I did watch the original theatrical ending, but this version's ending with the movie, it was the director's cut ending, and I enjoyed the director's cut ending a little bit more. I gotta say, they both weren't that great. You know, it was just basically a resolution, quick little wrap up. You know, nothing spectacular. But I didn't really expect, because of the lack of character development, I didn't expect a huge, you know, resolution after the climax. But the director's cut does tie it back to the beginning, kind of goes full circle as far as with the aliens. So if you've only ever watched this, say, back in the 80s or 90s, whatever, and you've never seen it since it's been released on the director's cut version, go and check it out. So that is my review of Night of the Creeps. If you've stuck with me this far, I want to thank you guys so much. Please give this video a thumbs up, Make sure to click the subscribe button and the notification bell if you want to see more upcoming videos. And also, drop a comment down below of what you think of Night of the Creeps. I'd love to hear it, guys. Thank you so much. So this movie's supposed to be a genre piece of horror movies as a whole. And that was definitely evident with the representation of zombies, aliens, monster slugs who had taken over people's bodies and basically using them as meat puppets until they hatched out of their brains, spawning more slugs to go around and invade more people's bodies. Kind of making me think of the original Invasion of the Body Snatchers, which of course got a remake around the same time as the release of this movie. Like I mentioned before, seemed like there was a big nostalgic value for the 50s back in the 80s, just like how we are now seeing a trend of nostalgia for the 80s today. But who couldn't help but notice the other horror homages with almost seemingly every character being an homage to horror movie directors of the time? You had Cynthia Cronenberg, wink wink to David. You had Hooper, Carpenter. There was even a reference to Steve Miner, who was associated with the original Friday the 13th. So I thought that was pretty cool. It's like every time a new character came on the screen, they're like, oh, this is Mr. Miner. I'm like, Miner, fucking Steve Miner. That's funny. That's some funny shit. So I really enjoyed that too. Yeah, man, this movie was just all around pretty good. I'm not gonna lie. I really enjoyed it.